Good morning, everyone. This is Sarah with the Pickaway County Library, and I'm here to bring you our baby toddler story time. We're going to start out with a song today that you probably already know. It's called If You're Happy and You Know It. Are you ready to try? We're going to clap our hands and stomp our feet and shout hooray when the song asks you to. You ready to give it a try? If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet, stomp, stomp. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. Now we're going to do one more verse that puts all three of those things together. Ready to try with me? If you're happy and you know it, do all three. Hooray! If you're happy and you know it, do all three. Hooray! If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, do all three. Hooray! Good job! Now the next thing we're going to do today is read our story together. The book today is Rude Mule, and it's written by Pamela Duncan Edwards. And we're reading today's book with permission from Macmillan Publishers. Rude Mule. What would you do if a mule knocked on your door one day and said, "I've come for lunch"? You'd say, "Hello, come in, mule." What if he came in and sat down at the table? You'd say, "Mule, wash your hooves before lunch." But what if he said, "Won't"? You'd say, "No lunch for you then." What if he brayed a rude mule hee-haw? You'd ignore him until he stopped, wouldn't you? What if he got tired of making a fuss and washed his hooves under the tap politely? You'd say, "Would you like some spaghetti?" What if he just said, "Okay"? You'd say, "Mule, say yes, please." What if he said, "Won't"? You'd say, "No spaghetti for you then." What if he brayed a rude mule hee-haw and stamped his 4 stubborn hooves? You'd ignore him until he stopped, wouldn't you? What if he got tired of making a fuss and said, "Yes, please," politely? You'd serve him some spaghetti, wouldn't you? And what if he began to slurp and gobble? You'd say, "Mule, eat your food quietly." But what if he said, "Won't"? You'd say, "Then we won't be able to play with my train set after lunch." What if he brayed a rude mule hee-haw and stamped his 4 stubborn hooves and blew a loud down his big old mule nose? You'd ignore him until he stopped, wouldn't you? What if he got tired of making a fuss and began to eat quietly? You'd say, "When we play with my train set, you can be the driver." But what if he got very excited and jumped down from his chair? You'd say, "Mule, ask, may I leave the table?" What if he said, "Won't"? You'd say, "Then my train will have to do without a driver today." What if he brayed a rude mule hee-haw and stamped his 4 wooden hooves and blew a loud down his big mule nose and poked out his red mule tongue? You'd ignore him until he stopped, wouldn't you? What if he got tired of making a fuss and said, "Please, may I leave the table?" very politely? Then Mule would get to drive the train. You'd play hide and seek. You'd blow bubbles. You'd both have a wonderful time until you were tired. What if he said, "I'm going home now," and got ready to leave? You'd say, "Mule, what should you say now?" What if he blinked his bright mule eyes and wrinkled his mule forehead and thought and thought? Then what if he smiled a big toothy mule smile and said very politely, "Thank you for having me. I've had a lovely time." You'd say, "Come again tomorrow and we'll paddle in my wading pool." Then I bet he'd bray a happy mule hee-haw and clap his mule hooves and blow a quiet down his big mule nose and lick you gently with his red mule tongue and give you a giant mule hug. Then you'd wave goodbye to him very politely, and you'd go and get your wading pool ready, wouldn't you? The end. I hope you enjoyed our story. Thank you for reading along with me. This book and lots of others are available in the Youth Services Department and are ready and available for pickup or to be placed on hold. So get online or come in and see us and choose some books to read at home. The next part of our story time will be using a sensory bin. For this, we will need some flour, sand, or even oats, and some vehicle toys. Those can be cars or trucks, large or small, whichever you have available. Let's take a look. Our sensory bin is very simple today, but kids do love the simplicity of the bin sometimes. We've just added some plain oats into our bin and some large trucks here. You can feel free to use some small trucks or even a bigger tray to put your supplies in. Something just about the simple textures can invite kids to explore and use their imagination. They can build a mountain to drive up and down with their trucks. You can add some blocks or animals into your bin as well if you'd like. Just let your little one's imagination take control with this. The next thing we're going to do today is our activity. For our activity today, we have this printable donkey or mule coloring page on our Facebook post. You can print one off, you can print more than one, or you can choose to make your own. And it's not colored, so you can color it in. I've done that here. I've colored it in, and then I've cut them out. After you've colored them, you can cut them out as well if you would like, or you can just leave it on the page as it is. And then you can take your mule and hide them in places around your house for a game of hide and seek, just like the mule in the story. Do you think you could find a silly place to hide your mule? Will they be inside or outside? We'd love to see what silly places your mule gets into. The last part of our story time today is going to be our craft. For our craft today, you'll need a paper plate, some scraps of red paper, some yellow yarn, some brown paper circles, and some glue. Let's take a look at what we're making and how we're going to put it all together. For our craft today, we're going to make a plate of spaghetti. The first thing we're going to need to do is make the sauce for the spaghetti. So on your empty paper plate here, we're just going to add some regular white school glue and some torn up pieces of red paper. You can cut these as well. I've just ripped some of our scraps up, and you're going to cover the whole bottom of your plate. And just make sure you have enough glue on there to make sure that they stay stuck. Then on top of that, we're going to take some of our yarn here. I just have a yellow, but you can use any color you would like your pasta to be. And add some more glue on top of your sauce. And then glue some of your pasta on there, however you would like it to lay. And then I have used a brown piece of paper and a circle punch, but you can cut them out if you would like. And then we have some brown circles to be our meatballs. So I have already put one together here, so you can see what it looks like all completed. Move that out of the way. So this is our completed plate of pasta. So once you have everything glued on there, it will stay. You just need to add some glue as you layer things on top of each other. After all the glue dries, you'll have your nice plate of spaghetti, just like Mule had in our story. I hope you enjoyed our story time today, and that you'll join me again next week as we continue to read and learn together.